Hey guys, Vex Viewer here, and it's time for another installment of Stupid for the Sake of the Plot. Now this video will feature a sci-fi film that Amazon really wants you to watch. It's a movie filled with action, wonky time travel, and a whole lot of stupid. The Tomorrow War. Now before we get to the stupid, I have to break down what exactly is happening in this film. Imagine you're watching the World Cup in 2022 and this happens. Young, attractive people from the future pop up on the pitch to ask for your help in a war against aliens.
We are you, 30 years in the future.
Our enemy is not human. We are fighting a war, and we are losing.
All human beings in the future will be wiped from the face of the earth. You are our last hope.
It was nice of the broadcast crew to zoom in on her and get rid of all the World Cup graphics. So the story here is the future is getting their asses kicked by aliens that look like this. The future's population is decreasing at an alarming rate. Humanity is on the brink of extinction. They need soldiers, anyone really, to jump to the future and help in the war. After receiving this news from the future, world leaders got together and started sending soldiers 28 years into the future. Why 28 years? Well, they're restricted to that number for reasons that are not important. The survival rate of those sent to the future is very low, so they have to institute the first worldwide draft. They're throwing civilians into the future to fight, and many of them never return. You can imagine not everyone is happy with this development.
The anti-war movement continues to gain momentum.
There are riots and protests happening all over the world.
What are we supposed to do? Just throw up our hands?
Now let's just stop right here. It's important to understand what's truly going on here. When these people from the future arrived on the scene, they created a new timeline. This isn't a situation where changes to the past are already accounted for in the future, thus it's impossible to change the future. No, there are now two timelines. One where they didn't know and they had to seek help from the past, and a timeline where people from the future showed up and asked for help. Our protagonist, Dan Forrester, was watching the World Cup when soldiers from the year 2051 arrived. We'll call this Timeline A. This is our main timeline. The timeline where they're fighting a war 28 years in the future, we'll call Timeline B. Got it? Good. So there are people in Timeline A who are protesting the war. This is easily the most interesting element of the entire film, and they don't really dive into it. Why are they sending soldiers to fight 28 years into the future of another timeline? The events of Timeline B does not have to come to pass in Timeline A. They told you that the aliens showed up in Russia in the year 2048. You have 26 years to come up with a plan. Why are you sending your soldiers to fight in the future of another timeline? It's a legitimate question. It's an interesting question. Remember guys, when they traveled to the past, they created a new timeline and changed the course of history. From December 2022 and on, the timelines would be significantly different. So why bother helping that timeline? Why? Because your sons and daughters' generation asked for help?
We need you.
Our fathers, mothers, and grandparents.
Here's a question. Are they really your future sons and daughters? Or are they just the sons and daughters of the other version of you? Is there a disconnect there? That's interesting. That's compelling. One could argue that it's smart to help because you can get information on the aliens that will one day affect your world. Cool. Have that conversation. That discussion is what we should have gotten more of, but they were too busy with the comedy. Here's a thought I'm sure some of you have. Why can't the remains of the human race in Timeline B abandon their world and come to Timeline A, 28 years in the past? Bring all your knowledge of aliens with you, your understanding of time travel. How about that? Well, the writer doesn't want that to be an option, so they added this.
Okay, so I have like a theory. Have you noticed how all of us, like over 40, in order for the time jump to occur, we have to be dead in the time we're jumping to?
Apparently, the folks from the future don't want two versions of the same person existing in one timeline because reasons. Only older folks from timeline A who have already died in timeline B can travel to the future, and only younger people from timeline B who haven't yet been born in timeline A can travel to the past.
I imagine it's to avoid some sort of paradox. That's why the people training us are so young. They haven't been born yet.
Time paradox? This is really annoying. If they were trying to keep the two timelines the same, that would be one thing, but that is not the case, clearly. So why are they worried about a time paradox? They have created a new timeline. This is just annoying. Okay, so that's all you guys need to know. Now that we got that out of the way, we can get on to the stupid. 12 months after the World Cup incident, our hero Dan Forrester, who is a biology teacher and ex-military, gets drafted and sent to the future timeline to fight in the war. He meets up with his future daughter, who's kind of a big deal. We find out she was the one who requested he be sent there. Why? Well, she has a special mission for him.
I didn't in any way bring you here because I wanted to spend time with my father. I brought you here for a reason.
They're trying to create a toxin that will kill a female white spike. Once they create one, she wants him to travel back with the toxin and have it mass produced so he can save his world. She believes her timeline is too far gone.
I need you to take it back. We can't make it here. We're on borrowed time already. And then you can stop this war from ever happening.
You're asking me to save my future, but then what? Leave you here to die?
I know what I'm asking you to do.
So they produce the toxin and somehow the female white spike knows. She's been heavily sedated, but now she's not for some reason.
You sure it's safe to be that close?
No. That's why we sedated her. Gave her 180 milligrams of hydromorphone.
Per day?
Every hour.
After a tearful goodbye, Dan gets sent back to his timeline with the toxin in hand. The jump link went offline, so they can't return to the future timeline even if they wanted to. Timeline B is lost forever. Everyone in that timeline is pretty much dead anyway. Now all that's left is timeline A. Now things get really stupid.
Now I've got a solution and no way to use it.
What do we know? We know when and where they land, right?
In northern Russia,
Okay.
2048. But there were no ships. There was no satellite footage of any rockets, nothing. They searched everything. They couldn't find
They
it.
had to have gotten here somehow.
Hey, we're just here.
Just because they attacked in 2048 doesn't mean that's when they got here. What if they got here in 47 or 46?
We wouldn't have found their ships.
Because we're looking at the wrong year.
Holy shit.
Stupid lasts forever.
Dan and his wife, in a matter of seconds, come to the realization that it might be possible that the aliens have been here for a while. Maybe they arrived on the planet hundreds or even thousands of years ago. Just hold on a second. Do these writers expect me to believe that no one thought about that until now? No one in either fucking timeline thought maybe the reason why they can't find the ship is because they landed a long time ago. Really? What is this writing? Everyone in both timelines are stupid for the sake of the plot. Next, Dan takes a cloth from one of the white spikes and has it examined. They find it has volcanic ash from China.
It's ash. It's volcanic ash. And it's not from Russia, it's from China.
Confused, they seek out help from a volcano expert. This kid.
How would a creature who's only ever stepped foot in northern Russia get volcanic ash from China or Korea under its claws?
It would have to be from the Millennium eruption.
Is there any way to pinpoint exactly where in Russia that ash would have landed?
Laptop, check this out. Scientists doing deep drill experiments there found volcanic ash at a depth of 400 meters.
They didn't dig down, they dug up.
That's why there's no sign of impact. They've been here the whole time.
In less than a day, these clowns figured out what all the scientists in both timelines couldn't figure out. You mean to tell me that no one ever took a sample from one of the claws and stuck it under a microscope? Really? What is this garbage? So they take this information to the US government, but they don't have any proof. So they decide to illegally fly to Russia to get the proof they need. Dan gets his father, who he hates, to fly him and a handful of others over there. Russia didn't even notice. They land, they blow up some ice, and find the spaceship. Easy peasy. Mission accomplished. They should take some pictures and give it to the UN, but they decide to take matters into their own hands because they're a bunch of badasses.
Go tell the UN and they can talk about it till we're all dead.
Yeah. Maybe we get the world governments involved, it could turn into a nightmare.
I don't have that kind of time.
They cut their way into the ship and find the white spikes. Now, all they have to do is plant some C4 and blow up the ship. I said, all they have to do now is plant some C4 and blow up the ship. I repeat, all they have to do is plant the C4 they brought and blow up the ship. Guys, do you know what this means? They don't need the toxin.
I'm not amused.
Guys, the entire middle third of this film, a good hour of this picture, is tied to the creation of this fucking toxin, and they don't even need it. His daughter brought him to the future because she trusted only him with this toxin, and they don't even need it. How does this happen? How do you write this? How? They don't need the damn toxin. The events of this movie did not need to happen. They had everything they needed to save their timeline after the prologue. The mind of a high school teacher and his wife, the mind of a child, and the alien claw homeboy had around his neck the entire movie. Any half-decent scientist with a plane could have saved the world. Hell, if you were a Russian scientist, you wouldn't even need a plane. This is, I don't know how. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are wondering what happens next. Well, because these characters are super smart, they're gonna set a timer and blow up the ship, right? No, of course not. See, the plot needs Dan and the rest of these fools to use the toxin so we can have this upcoming action sequence. They're not even 100% sure it's gonna work. It's never been used. How stupid can you be? Just blow it up. The toxin works, but the commotion makes the rest of them wake up, so now they're in a real pickle. They have no choice but to manually blow up the ship.
Go! We'll get the ones in the ship.
Give me that C4. In case one of us gets in trouble, we gotta blow this thing manually, all right? No timers.
The minorities stay behind to blow up the ship, while Dan escapes just in time. One female white spike manages to escape, so they have to track it down and kill it. The rest of the movie is a bad WWE fight. Yeah, this movie starts off fine, but everything after his return from the future is hot garbage. Absolutely asinine. It really undercuts most of the film. If you can manage to turn your brain all the way off, the movie is decent. The plot needed two timelines to be stupid for Dan and his crew to be the heroes. It's really bad. Storytellers, directors, remember to ask yourself this simple question. Is this too stupid? Because nothing irritates viewers more than an unrealistic display of stupidity. That's it for this video, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Can we talk about how the Brazilian footballer is running for a long time but can never reach the goal? Hilarious.